Leading the market with the 67 Chevrolet. You have the #1 products. You have big and expanding markets. And you have the product advantages over competition. Let's look them over. While we'll be talking about our primary competition, Ford and Pontiac, let's not forget Plymouth, which has made big sales increases. You've read about all of them, heard about them, and possibly have visited their showrooms and driven their cars. All this works in your favor. But remember this, in 67, your opponents will be elbowing you, trying to cut in on your sales. So you have to be more effective than ever before in getting Chevrolet's product advantages across to competitive-minded buyers. First, let's see how Ford is selling itself. This year, Ford says that styling is practically all new from roof to ground and front to rear for a big car luxury look. Well, again in 67, you're selling the styling leader. Ford still attempts to copy the Chevrolet look. A case in point, the rear fender kick-up. Ford also copies the front fender thrust, another styling highlight by Chevrolet. At the rear, on the two-door hardtops, Ford attempts to copy the smooth flowing roof lines of the Impala and Impala Super Sport coupes. But a close look at the cars shows you that they still fail to match Chevrolet's low flaring sweep of the roof. It may be that styling is a matter of personal taste, but here's a matter of fact. Chevrolet's Magic Mirror acrylic lacquer finish holds its beauty longer and is smoother than the Ford's enamel, which has an orange peel appearance. Then, too, acrylic lacquer can be spot repaired. With Ford, an entire panel must be refinished, a more expensive method than spot repairing. Next, Ford salesmen will be saying, 1967 models are stronger because they're better built, and that 100 key parts were made stronger. In spite of this claim, Ford has neglected improving one entire major area, the rocker panels. So point up to your Ford-minded buyers and owners that Chevrolet's flush and dry rocker panels help stop corrosion for a longer-lasting body. Ford's rocker panels are not flushed and dry. Another point, Ford salesmen will be selling the elegance of the interiors. But you have more interior luxury, comfort, and convenience to sell. To begin with, Chevrolet is roomier, front and rear. Also, Chevrolet has a more practical instrument panel. The cluster is larger and easier on the eyes than Ford's. As you know, Ford takes pride in its station wagons and goes all out to sell them. However, in wagons, you can sell more cargo volume. 3 more cubic feet in 2-seat models, and 2 more cubic feet in the 3-seat models. You can also offer the optional carpeted cargo floor in Caprice and Impala wagons. Ford doesn't offer this option. The rearward-facing 3rd seat in Chevrolet 3-seat wagons is roomy and comfortable. Ford's side-facing rear seats in the Country Sedan and Country Squire models make for awkward and uncomfortable seating. Moving on to power and performance, Ford salesmen will be selling the soaring performance of engines. What they mean is performance in terms of horsepower. Make sure your prospects are not misled by Ford's horsepower claims. A high horsepower rating doesn't necessarily mean that an engine will deliver the most practical road performance. There are other indicators of engine performance. Take the matter of the number of times the crankshaft turns for each mile of travel. The fewer the revolutions, other things being equal, the less the engine wear, the quieter the engine, and the lower the consumption of gas and oil. Engine revolutions per mile are dependent in the main on the rear axle ratio and the tire size. A Chevrolet Biscayne or Bel Air sedan with a 6-cylinder engine, 3-speed manual transmission, and standard tires, and without air conditioning, makes 55 less engine revolutions per mile while traveling at a cruising speed of 60 miles per hour than a comparable Ford Custom or Ford Custom 500 sedan. And the facts are the same when the base V8 models are compared. There are less revolutions per mile than the comparable Ford. So mile after mile after mile, the Chevrolet 6-cylinder and base V8 engines work less. Next, let's consider the high-performance end of the scale. Comparing the Chevrolet 427 V8 and Ford 427 V8, both with a 4-speed manual shift, standard tires, and rear axle, Chevrolet once again has a definite advantage. 133 less engine revolutions per mile. But Chevrolet performance advantages don't stop here. Consider rear axle ratios for the 427 V8. Chevrolet offers 4 optional rear axle ratios from 3.73 to 4.88 to give the car extra performance. And for operating economy, the buyer can get a 3.07 to 1 optional rear axle ratio. Ford offers only 1 standard rear axle and 1 optional axle. Next, you can offer 2 automatic transmissions, Power Glide and Turbo Hydromatic. Ford only offers the Cruise-O-Matic. Furthermore, Turbo Hydromatic is superior to Cruise-O-Matic in operating smoothness. In addition, you can offer the 4-speed manual with all V8s. Ford doesn't offer a 4-speed manual with its 289 cubic inch V8 or the 2-barrel 390 cubic inch V8. Now, comparing stopping power. Chevrolet has bonded brake linings, which have longer wearing life than the riveted types which Ford still uses. And with 184.3 square inches of effective brake lining area, Chevrolet has an advantage over Ford's 175.6 square inches. So Chevrolet has the product advantages over Ford. And Chevrolet has advantages over Pontiac. So let's take a look at the 121-inch wheelbase Catalina, Pontiac's largest selling series. Many people have the false impression that the Catalina is a much bigger car than Chevrolet, as well as being differently designed. A great deal of this is due to Pontiac's wide track advertising. As you know, Chevrolet and Catalina have practically the same wheel tread, length, width, and height dimensions. There's only 1 to 2 inches difference. Also, Chevrolet is just as roomy inside. What's more, the Chevrolet Impala and Caprice have more fashionable interiors with fingertip door releases. Also, Chevrolet and Catalina have the same type of suspension design, 4 coil springs, link rear suspension, and perimeter frame. Both have body by Fisher with acrylic lacquer finish. Next, checking Pontiac power. The lowest horsepower available on the Catalina is 265, while Chevrolet offers operating economy with the standard 155 horsepower 6-cylinder engine. And when it comes to performance, Chevrolet has the edge with 385 horsepower compared with Pontiac's 376 horsepower. This means Chevrolet can better suit the horsepower wants and needs of prospects. Furthermore, Chevrolet offers a 140 horsepower turbo thrift 6-cylinder engine as well as overdrive. Pontiac Catalina doesn't offer a 6-cylinder engine or overdrive. Besides these power team advantages, Chevrolet has brake advantages. For example, Chevrolet's bonded brake linings outwear Catalina's riveted linings. Yes, Chevrolet offers just as much car, and in many areas more car, than the Catalina. What it boils down to is this. Catalina buyers are paying a premium for the Pontiac nameplate. Make sure that your Pontiac-minded prospects know all the facts about Chevrolet and why it's a better buy for the man who wants to combine prestige and economy. You must also be prepared to handle your other competitor, Plymouth. In 1967, Plymouth's merchandising theme is Plymouth is out to win you over. All in all, Plymouth has been winning some people over in the past few years because of product improvements. Styling has been updated. However, comparing the Chevrolet car line with the Plymouth Fury line, an important Chevrolet advantage is the wider stance, front and rear, for more stability and roadability. In fact, Chevrolet's rear tread is almost 2 full inches wider than Plymouth's. Chevrolet also has a shorter turning diameter, curb to curb, for greater handling ease. Chevrolet has a superior suspension system, coil springs at each wheel, and a link-type rear suspension. Plymouth front torsion bars can result in a bumpy ride, and Plymouth's multi-leaf rear springs are noisy and can develop a set after the mileage adds up. For another mark of Chevrolet's superiority, let's look at 6-cylinder engines. The Chevrolet 6-cylinder engine with 155 horsepower delivers 10 more horsepower than the Plymouth 6, and with 235 foot-pounds of torque, it has 20 foot-pounds more torque than the Plymouth 6, contributing to better performance. In addition, the Chevrolet 6 has a shorter piston stroke, resulting in less friction and wear for a longer-lasting engine. What's more, Chevrolet offers overdrive. Plymouth does not. In addition, Chevrolet's 3-speed manual transmission is fully synchronized in all forward gears. Plymouth's 3-speed manual is not synchronized in first gear. Other Chevrolet advantages over Plymouth include an easier-to-read instrument cluster, also acrylic lacquer, which is superior to Plymouth's enamel, and flush and dry rocker panels, which Plymouth does not have. So all in all, you have the product advantages over Ford, Pontiac, and Plymouth. You're all set to increase your sales and earnings by meeting the market with the '67 Chevrolet. But you have to sell and demonstrate Chevrolet's superiority. So start now and never let up.